Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something that every one of us has been searching for at some point in our lives: enough. The idea of enough is one that often escapes us. We're constantly told that we need more success, more money, more possessions. But what if the key to peace, fulfillment, and purpose isn't in the pursuit of more, but in the realization of what is already enough? Enough isn't a limitation, it's a state of contentment. It's the realization that what you have right now, who you are right now, is already sufficient. When we understand this, we step into a realm of peace that many are too busy chasing to experience. First, let's talk about gratitude. Gratitude is the gateway to recognizing enough. It's easy to focus on what we lack, but the real power lies in appreciating what we already have. Every day we are surrounded by blessings, but we often overlook them because we're too focused on what's next. When we choose to look at life through a lens of gratitude, we see that enough is not a faraway dream, it is right here, in the present moment. But the real question is, what is enough? Is it measured by the things we collect or the titles we achieve? No. Enough is found in the alignment with your purpose. Purpose is the compass that guides you, and when you are living in alignment with your true calling, you will find that you already have everything you need to succeed. It's not about gathering more, it's about being faithful with what you have been given. When we focus on fulfilling our purpose, we realize that what we need to thrive is already within us and around us. This brings me to another important point: the power of focus. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We become so caught up in the race for more recognition, more possessions, more achievements, that we forget to appreciate the life we already have. But when we focus on the things that truly matter — family, love, purpose, peace — we discover that we have enough. Now, let's talk about sufficiency over abundance. Abundance can often feel like a blessing, but it can also become a burden. We think we need more, but sometimes more weighs us down. Enough is not about excess, it's about sufficiency. It's about understanding that we have enough to accomplish what we need to accomplish without being overloaded by the pressures of having more. When we embrace sufficiency, we set ourselves free from the constant desire to keep up with the world. A big part of this journey is also recognizing the dangers of comparison. We live in a society that constantly compares us to others. We see people with more followers, more possessions, more success, and we start to believe that we don't have enough. But comparison steals our peace. It tells us that we are incomplete, that we are lacking. But the truth is, you are already enough. You don't need to compare your journey to someone else's, because your path is uniquely yours. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others is the moment you step into the fullness of who you truly are. Really true inner peace comes when we understand that enough is not an external measurement, it is an internal realization. It's when we stop searching for validation and approval from others and instead look within ourselves to recognize that we are whole, we are sufficient, and we are enough just as we are. This internal peace gives birth to true confidence and the freedom to be ourselves. This leads to the next truth: the freedom in letting go. When we recognize that we have enough, we no longer need to cling to things, status, or approval. We can let go of the things that weigh us down: fear, insecurity, comparison — and step into a life of freedom. It is only when we let go of the unnecessary that we can embrace the abundance of peace, joy, and purpose that already exists in our lives. Now, let's talk about the most powerful expression of having enough: generosity. When you know that you have enough, you no longer hold on tightly to what you have. You give freely because you understand that giving does not deplete you, it expands you. Generosity is not just about material things, it's about giving your time, your attention, your love, your care. When you give from a place of sufficiency, you create an environment where enough multiplies. Living in the present moment is where the true secret to enough lies. We often chase after what we think will fulfill us in the future, but enough is not a destination, it's a state of mind that we choose to embrace right now. When you live fully in the present, you begin to recognize that what you have today is enough for the journey ahead. There's no need to wait for tomorrow to experience the fullness of life. It's here and now. Ladies and gentlemen, enough is not about what we lack, it's about what we already have. It's about shifting our mindset. embracing gratitude, living with purpose, focusing on what truly matters, and letting go of the pressures of comparison and excess. When we understand that we already have enough, we live in freedom, peace, and fulfillment. So I ask you today, will you choose to live in the awareness that you are enough? Will you choose to stop chasing after what you think is missing and start embracing the sufficiency of what you already have? The moment you do, you will experience the freedom and power that comes with living in alignment with your true self. Enough is not something you need to find, it's something you must recognize and embrace within yourself. The concept of enough is often misunderstood or overlooked in today's world. We live in a society that pushes us to constantly strive for more success, more wealth, more recognition. We are taught that we will only be truly happy once we have more than we currently do. This belief leads to a never-ending chase, a race against time, and an endless desire that can never truly be fulfilled. But enough isn't about quantity, it's about quality and contentment with what we already possess. Enough is about recognizing a state of completeness. It's about acknowledging that there is value in what we already have, and that what we have right now is sufficient for the journey we are on. It's not about being stagnant or complacent, but about reaching a place of understanding where we can be at peace with where we are, while still pursuing our goals. When we realize that we are not lacking, we are not incomplete, and we are not defined by what we don't have, we unlock a deeper level of inner peace and fulfillment. To understand enough, we must shift our mindset from scarcity to sufficiency. Scarcity is driven by fear of not having enough, the fear of missing out, the fear of not being enough. This mindset causes anxiety and restlessness. It constantly pushes us to acquire more, to accumulate, to compete. But sufficiency, on the other hand, comes from a place of trust. It's the understanding that what we have is all that we need at this moment. It allows us to relax into life, to appreciate the present, and to understand that we are capable of achieving our dreams with the resources we currently possess. But enough also involves a deep sense of gratitude. It is difficult to feel that we have enough if we are constantly looking at what others have or comparing ourselves to people who appear to be more successful. True contentment comes when we recognize the value of what is right in front of us. The ability to be thankful for our health, our relationships, our abilities, and the opportunities before us is what truly allows us to feel complete. When we embrace gratitude, we begin to see the abundance in our lives, and we realize that enough has always been available to us, just waiting to be recognized. At its core, enough is an internal state, not an external condition. It is not determined by the things we own or the accolades we achieve, but by how we perceive ourselves and our circumstances. When we understand that we are enough, we stop measuring our worth based on external factors. We realize that we are whole, worthy, and complete in our own right, independent of what others think or what we accumulate. This shift in perception liberates us from the endless chase for more and opens us to the peace that comes from living in the present, embracing our current state, and acknowledging that we already have enough to move forward and thrive. In essence, the concept of enough challenges us to stop defining ourselves by what we do not have and instead to recognize the richness of what we already possess. When we do this, we free ourselves from the tyranny of endless striving and open the door to true contentment and joy. We discover that enough is not a destination, but a mindset, a choice to live in the fullness of what is present in our lives right now. Gratitude is often seen as a simple expression of thanks, something we say when we receive a gift or favor. But at a deeper level, gratitude is the foundation of contentment. It is the practice of recognizing and appreciating the goodness in our lives, regardless of external circumstances. When we adopt gratitude as a way of life, it shifts our perspective from what we lack to what we already have, allowing us to experience a profound sense of fulfillment. In a world that constantly tells us we need more, gratitude helps us pause and reflect on what is already enough. It encourages us to appreciate the small things, the moments of peace, the relationships that bring us joy, the opportunities that are before us. Gratitude is not just about being thankful for the big achievements, but also for the simple blessings we often take for granted. The fact that we can wake up every day with the ability to learn, grow, and connect with others is something worth appreciating. When we truly understand the power of gratitude, we see that it shifts us from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Instead of feeling deprived or envious of what others have, we begin to see the richness of our own lives. Gratitude opens our eyes to the value in what we already possess, both materially and immaterially. It helps us to recognize that even in moments of difficulty, there are things to be thankful for, whether it's the strength to endure, the lessons learned, or the support of those around us. The practice of gratitude also anchors us in the present moment. In our fast-paced world, we are often looking ahead to what's next, constantly striving for more. But when we focus on gratitude, we are forced to slow down and savor the here and now. We begin to notice the beauty of everyday life, the joy that exists in the present. Gratitude helps us become more mindful and aware of the good things that are happening in the present moment, rather than constantly waiting for something better in the future. By regularly practicing gratitude, we cultivate an attitude of contentment. We no longer feel the need to chase after elusive goals or accumulate more things in an attempt to find happiness. Instead, we become deeply satisfied with what we already have. Contentment doesn't mean we stop pursuing our dreams or setting new goals, but it means we do so from a place of fullness, not from a sense of lack. Gratitude allows us to be at peace with where we are, even while striving for something greater. This sense of contentment that comes with gratitude is also deeply connected to our emotional well-being. When we focus on the things we are grateful for, it creates a positive feedback loop in our minds. Our thoughts shift toward the positive, and we begin to attract more of that positivity into our lives. Gratitude fosters a mindset of appreciation, which leads to greater happiness, resilience, and overall satisfaction. We begin to recognize that contentment is not found in the pursuit of more, but in appreciating what we already have right now. Gratitude nurtures our relationships with others. When we express gratitude for the people in our lives, whether they support, love, or simply their presence, we create deeper, more meaningful connections. When we focus on what we appreciate about others, it strengthens the bonds we share and fosters an environment of mutual respect and care. Gratitude becomes a bridge that connects us to the world around us, reminding us that we are not alone in our journey. Gratitude is the key to unlocking a life of contentment. It transforms our outlook, helping us to see the beauty and abundance in our lives rather than focusing on what we lack. By regularly practicing gratitude, we invite contentment into our hearts, allowing us to embrace the fullness of life as it is and find peace in the present moment. Gratitude teaches us that true happiness is not found in accumulating more, but in recognizing and appreciating the richness of what we already have. The pursuit of purpose is one of the most fundamental aspects of the human experience. It goes beyond mere ambition or success. It is the drive that fuels our deepest passions and gives meaning to our lives. Purpose is not something we find outside of ourselves or something that can be measured by material achievements. It is something that comes from within. It is the unique expression of who we are and what we are meant to contribute to the world. When we are in pursuit of purpose, we are aligning our actions with our deepest values, and this alignment creates a sense of fulfillment that cannot be achieved through external validation alone. Living with purpose is about recognizing that our lives have meaning, regardless of how small or grand our contributions may seem. When we are living with purpose, our daily activities become more than just tasks to complete. They become opportunities to express who we are at the core. Purpose gives us direction, clarity, and focus, helping us navigate the challenges of life with a sense of resolve. When we know our purpose, we can approach each day with intention, feeling a deeper connection to our work, relationships, and surroundings. In the pursuit of purpose, it's important to understand that it is not always a straight path. The journey can be filled with uncertainty, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But these challenges are not signs that we are off course. They are part of the process. They help refine us, build resilience, and deepen our understanding of what truly matters. Each step we take on the path toward purpose shapes us, revealing more about who we are and what we are capable of. It is often through adversity that we discover the depth of our strength and the clarity of our vision. One of the most transformative aspects of pursuing purpose is the way it shifts our focus from external rewards to internal fulfillment. In a world that often prioritizes wealth, status, and success as measures of worth, the pursuit of purpose challenges this mindset. It teaches us that true satisfaction does not come from what we acquire or how we are perceived by others, but from knowing that we are contributing to something greater than ourselves. When we are in pursuit of purpose, we stop comparing ourselves to others and stop measuring our success by conventional standards. Instead, we focus on our own growth, our own impact, and the ways in which we are living authentically. Purpose also has the power to transform how we experience time. When we are living in alignment with our purpose, time seems to flow differently. The work we do becomes an expression of our passions and talents, and we lose ourselves in the process. Rather than feeling burdened by the passage of time or constantly waiting for the next milestone, we begin to feel a deep sense of fulfillment in the present. Purpose anchors us to the here and now, allowing us to experience the richness of each moment, knowing that what we are doing is meaningful and aligned with our deepest values. In the pursuit of purpose, there is also a profound sense of interconnectedness. When we are living with purpose, we begin to recognize that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Our actions ripple out and affect the world around us. Purpose is not a solitary pursuit, it is an expression of our connection to others, to our communities, and to the world as a whole. As we contribute to the greater good, we become more deeply connected to the people and causes that matter most. This sense of interconnectedness enriches our lives, giving us a deeper sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. The pursuit of purpose brings clarity to our values and priorities. In a world filled with distractions and noise, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But when we are clear about our purpose, we are better able to make decisions that align with our core values. We no longer waste energy on things that don't serve our greater mission, and we can confidently say no to distractions that pull us away from what we are truly meant to do. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding us through life's complexities and helping us stay true to our path. The pursuit of purpose is about more than just achieving goals or reaching milestones. It is about living authentically, expressing our true selves, and contributing to the world in a way that feels deeply meaningful. Purpose is not something that is handed to us. It is something we discover and cultivate through our experiences, reflections, and actions. It is the compass that guides us, the fuel that drives us, and the reason we get up every morning with a sense of excitement and determination. When we are in pursuit of purpose, we are not just surviving, we are thriving, living a life that is rich with meaning, direction, and fulfillment. The power of focus is one of the most transformative forces we can harness in our lives. In a world that is constantly pulling us in different directions, where distractions are endless and time feels fragmented, focus becomes a rare and precious commodity. Yet, it is also one of the most effective tools for success, fulfillment, and personal growth. When we choose to focus, we are actively deciding to invest our energy and attention into what truly matters, rather than being swept away by the noise of the world around us. Focus brings clarity, direction, and a sense of purpose to our efforts. In our fast-paced society, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of demands on our attention. We are constantly multitasking, switching between tasks, checking our phones, and trying to keep up with everything happening around us. But true focus requires a single-mindedness that goes beyond just completing tasks. It's about dedicating ourselves to one thing at a time, fully immersing ourselves in the present moment, and giving our best effort to that task. This kind of focus is not just about efficiency, it's about the depth of our engagement with what we are doing. It allows us to produce work of higher quality, be more creative, and feel more accomplished. When we cultivate focus, we are able to eliminate the distractions that prevent us from reaching our highest potential. We stop allowing external forces to dictate where our attention goes and begin to control it ourselves. This control over our attention is empowering. It helps us to set clear priorities and to invest our time and energy where it matters most. When we focus on what is important, we are able to move forward with intention and purpose rather than reacting to whatever comes our way. This allows us to achieve greater results with less wasted effort, as we are no longer scattered in a million directions. The power of focus also enables us to reach higher levels of productivity. When we focus on a single task, our minds become sharper and we can dive deeper into our work. We enter a state of flow where we are fully absorbed in what we are doing and time seems to disappear. In this state, we are not only more efficient, but also more creative and innovative. Focus allows us to tap into our full potential, to go beyond the surface and uncover new insights, solutions, and ideas that would have remained hidden if we were distracted. It is through this sustained focus that we unlock the doors to excellence and mastery. Focus is also a powerful tool for overcoming challenges. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and unexpected turns. But when we maintain our focus, we are better equipped to navigate these challenges with resilience. Focusing on our goals, rather than the difficulties we face, helps us to stay determined and persistent. It keeps our eyes on the bigger picture, preventing us from becoming overwhelmed by temporary setbacks. When we focus on the solution instead of the problem, we shift our energy towards overcoming the obstacles in front of us, rather than being defeated by them. Another significant benefit of focus is the ability to make better decisions. When we are focused, we are not swayed by external opinions or distractions. We can think clearly, assess our options, and make decisions that align with our values and goals. Focus gives us the clarity to prioritize what truly matters, making it easier to say no to things that do not serve our purpose. It enables us to act with confidence, knowing that our choices are intentional and aligned with our vision for the future. The power of focus is key to personal growth and self-discipline. When we focus on our personal development, we invest time and energy into becoming the best versions of ourselves. Whether it's learning a new skill, improving our health, or developing emotional intelligence, focus allows us to stay committed to our growth. The process of focused effort leads to progress, and through consistent attention to our development, we transform ourselves over time. This kind of focus builds resilience and discipline, creating lasting change that is rooted in the consistent application of effort. At its core, the power of focus is about making conscious choices with our time and energy. It's about saying yes to what is important, no to what isn't. By focusing on the present moment and the task at hand, we create the space to accomplish our goals and live with intention. Focus enables us to simplify our lives, eliminate distractions, and channel our energy into the things that bring us fulfillment. It's a tool that allows us to harness our full potential, achieve our dreams, and live a life of purpose and meaning. Sufficiency over abundance is a concept that challenges the conventional wisdom of modern society, which often glorifies excess, accumulation, and more. We live in a world where the pursuit of abundance is frequently equated with success, happiness, and security. Yet the idea of sufficiency encourages us to rethink what truly matters in life. It asks us to consider that enough what is sufficient for our needs may be far more valuable and fulfilling than the endless chase for more. When we embrace sufficiency, we recognize that our well-being is not defined by how much we have, but by how well we can manage and appreciate what we already possess. This mindset shifts the focus from accumulation to contentment, and it calls us to cultivate a sense of gratitude for the present moment rather than constantly seeking future gains. By focusing on sufficiency, we begin to prioritize quality over quantity, purpose over possessions, and fulfillment over fleeting desires. Sufficiency doesn't mean denying ourselves the things we need or desire, but rather understanding the difference between genuine needs and transient wants. It's about having enough to live well, to be at peace, and to pursue our goals without being burdened by the weight of excess. Excess can be overwhelming, whether it's in material possessions, expectations, or responsibilities. Too often we accumulate more than we need, only to find that it doesn't bring us the satisfaction we expected. In fact, the more we have to manage, protect, and worry about. The pursuit of abundance, in this sense, becomes a cycle of consumption and anxiety rather than a path to fulfillment. When we choose sufficiency over abundance, we begin to experience the freedom that comes with simplicity. We learn to let go of the clutter, both physical and mental, that weighs us down. Instead of striving to keep up with others or to meet externally imposed standards of success, we begin to focus on what truly nourishes us. This doesn't mean rejecting growth or progress, but rather approaching it from a place of balance, knowing when we have reached a point of sufficiency that allows us to feel complete without the need for more. Sufficiency also allows us to develop a deeper sense of responsibility. When we recognize that what we have is enough, we become more intentional about how we use our resources. Whether it's our time, energy, or finances, sufficiency teaches us to manage what we have wisely, knowing that overextending ourselves or wasting our resources can lead to imbalance and stress. It fosters a mindset of stewardship rather than entitlement, where we feel a greater sense of duty to care for what we have and use it purposefully, not recklessly. In relationships, the principle of sufficiency also applies. Rather than seeking to fulfill every need or desire through others, we learn to give and receive in a way that is balanced and respectful. We realize that the people in our lives are not here to complete us or to constantly provide for us, but to share in the journey of life. When we understand that our connections are about quality and not quantity, we become more attuned to the needs of others and less focused on what we can gain. Sufficiency in relationships helps us to cultivate deeper, more meaningful bonds grounded in mutual respect and understanding rather than in dependency or expectation. Living with sufficiency over abundance also helps to reduce stress and anxiety. The constant pressure to attain more wealth, more success, more material possessions can be exhausting. It creates a never-ending cycle of striving and dissatisfaction where the goalposts of happiness and fulfillment are always shifting. By embracing sufficiency, we stop measuring our worth by what we have or what we are chasing. Instead, we find peace in the present, content with what we already possess. This sense of inner peace comes from knowing that we have enough to lead a life that is meaningful, regardless of external standards or comparisons. The idea of sufficiency over abundance also extends to our sense of purpose. When we focus on sufficiency, we come to realize that we don't need more things, more titles, or more recognition to live a life of purpose. What we need is a clear understanding of our values and a commitment to living according to them. Purpose is found not in the accumulation of material wealth or societal approval, but in the way we use our time, energy, and talents to contribute to the world. When we live in alignment with our purpose, we feel a sense of fulfillment that cannot be achieved through external abundance. Sufficiency over abundance fosters a profound sense of gratitude. It encourages us to appreciate what we have rather than constantly yearning for more. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is missing to what is present, and in doing so, it cultivates a deeper sense of contentment and happiness. When we are satisfied with enough, we are free from the constant cycle of desire, and we can enjoy the richness of the life we already have. Sufficiency reminds us that true wealth is not in the amount we possess, but in the ability to live peacefully, joyfully, and with purpose. Sufficiency over abundance invites us to reconsider what it means to live a successful, fulfilling life. It challenges us to recognize that more is not always better, and that what we truly need is already within our reach. When we embrace sufficiency, we find freedom, peace, and a deeper connection to what truly matters. We begin to understand that we have enough, and that enough is not only all we needed, it's all we could ever want. The dangers of comparison are often underestimated in a world that thrives on measuring success, wealth, and beauty. From a young age, we are conditioned to evaluate ourselves in relation to others, whether it's in our careers, relationships, appearance, or accomplishments. This constant measuring can feel like an inevitable part of life, but what we fail to recognize is the profound negative impact comparison has on our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. While it may seem natural to compare ourselves to others, it is an unhealthy habit that can steal our joy, hinder our progress, and distort our sense of self-worth. At its core, comparison breeds dissatisfaction. No matter how much we have or how far we've come, there will always be someone who appears to have more or be further ahead. When we focus on what others have achieved, we lose sight of the progress we've made in our own lives. Instead of celebrating our victories, we start to feel inadequate. This constant sense of lack leaves us feeling unfulfilled and disheartened as we constantly measure ourselves against a moving target that never stays the same. The result is a deep sense of unhappiness that doesn't arise from our circumstances, but from our internal thoughts and perspectives. One of the most damaging aspects of comparison is the erosion of self-esteem. When we measure ourselves by someone else's yardstick, we fail to honor our own unique journey, strengths, and qualities. We begin to see ourselves through the lens of someone else's success, and instead of feeling proud of who we are and what we've achieved, we feel like we fall short. This undermines our confidence and shifts our focus from personal growth to competition, leading us to place our worth in the hands of others. The truth is, we are all on different paths, and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. Yet comparison convinces us that there's one right way to live or succeed, which can leave us feeling disconnected from our true selves. The danger of comparison also lies in the way it encourages unhealthy competition. Rather than fostering collaboration or mutual support, comparison turns everything into a race where we are pitted against others in a constant battle to win. This mindset creates a toxic environment where we view the success of others as a threat to our own potential. Instead of celebrating the achievements of those around us, we feel jealousy, insecurity, or even resentment. This toxic competition diminishes our ability to appreciate the unique gifts and talents others bring to the table and discourages us from forming authentic connections. As we compare, we distance ourselves from collaboration, growth, and unity because we are too focused on proving that we are better. Another significant danger of comparison is that it distorts our perception of reality. Social media has made comparison even more pervasive, presenting curated versions of people's lives that often do not reflect the true picture. We see images of success, beauty, wealth, and happiness, but rarely do we get to see the behind-the-scenes struggles or the sacrifices that are involved in those moments. This distorted view leads us to believe that others have it all together, when in reality, everyone faces challenges, insecurities, and setbacks. Comparison causes us to make false assumptions about other people's lives, which only deepens our dissatisfaction with our own. We begin to chase ideals that are unrealistic and unattainable, perpetuating a cycle of self-doubt and disappointment. The emotional toll of comparison can also lead to anxiety and depression. When we constantly measure our lives against others, it can trigger feelings of inadequacy and fear. The anxiety that arises from feeling like we are not enough can lead to stress and burnout. This is particularly dangerous because it affects our overall mental health, making us feel trapped in a cycle of perfectionism and self-criticism. Instead of focusing on our own growth and well-being, we become consumed by the fear of not measuring up, which can rob us of our peace and joy. Comparison can stifle creativity and personal expression. When we are constantly looking at what others are doing, we lose the confidence to trust our own ideas and instincts. We become so focused on mimicking others' paths to success that we forget to honor our own unique strengths and perspectives. This limits our ability to innovate and to bring something fresh and original into the world. When we embrace our individuality and stop comparing ourselves to others, we free ourselves to explore new possibilities and create in ways that are authentic to who we are. The habit of comparison also leads us to overlook the blessings we already have. By constantly looking at what others possess, we fail to appreciate the abundance in our own lives. Comparison keeps us focused on what we lack rather than what we have. We begin to take our achievements, relationships, and personal growth for granted because we are too busy measuring them against someone else's successes. This mindset robs us of the ability to feel gratitude for the present moment and prevents us from experiencing the richness of our own lives. When we stop comparing, we shift our focus from what's missing to what's already present, which opens the door to deeper contentment. The danger of comparison lies in its power to limit our potential. By constantly comparing ourselves to others, we impose constraints on what we believe we can achieve. We start to feel that we need to follow someone else's path to find success or happiness. This can create a fear of stepping out of our comfort zone or pursuing something unconventional because we believe that there's a predefined path to follow. The truth is, we all have our own unique path to walk, and comparison only limits our ability to explore new opportunities and grow into the fullest version of ourselves. While comparison may seem like a natural impulse, it is one of the most destructive forces we can allow into our lives. It steals our joy, damages our self-esteem, creates unnecessary competition, distorts our perception of reality, and erodes our mental health. When we free ourselves from the habit of comparison, we reclaim our power, embrace our uniqueness, and learn to appreciate the beauty of our own journey. Instead of looking to others to measure our worth, we can begin to look inward and recognize that we are enough, exactly as we are. Self-awareness and inner peace are deeply interconnected, each one enhancing and supporting the other. At the core of self-awareness lies the ability to observe and understand one's own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. It's about developing a clear and honest understanding of who we are, our values, our fears, our desires, and the patterns that shape how we react to the world around us. This awareness enables us to recognize the root causes of our actions and reactions, providing the clarity we need to make more intentional choices. The more we understand ourselves, the less we are driven by unconscious impulses and external influences, and the more we can choose how we respond to life's challenges. Self-awareness is not simply about knowing what we feel or think in a given moment, but it's also about understanding why we feel or think that way. It involves peeling back layers of conditioning, past experiences, and societal expectations to reveal the true essence of who we are. With this kind of awareness, we can begin to distinguish between what is truly ours, our authentic thoughts and emotions, and what has been imposed upon us by the outside world. This clarity allows us to become more in control of our lives, making decisions that are aligned with our true self rather than acting out of habit, fear, or external pressure. As self-awareness grows, so does the capacity for inner peace. When we understand ourselves, we can accept ourselves, flaws and all. Inner peace arises when we stop fighting against our own thoughts and emotions and instead learn to accept them as part of our human experience. The struggle to suppress or deny our feelings often leads to inner turmoil, but when we become more aware of our emotional landscape, we can approach our feelings with compassion and understanding. We realize that emotions are transient, not defining characteristics, and we do not need to react impulsively to them. This perspective allows us to remain calm and centered, even in the face of stress or adversity. One of the key benefits of self-awareness is the ability to recognize and let go of negative thought patterns. So often we hold on to beliefs and habits that no longer serve us, simply because we are unaware of their influence. Self-awareness allows us to identify these patterns, whether it's self-doubt, fear, or negative self-talk, and gently release them. This process of letting go creates space for more positive and peaceful thoughts, which in turn fosters a sense of calm within. When we stop allowing the mind to be cluttered with unhelpful thoughts and judgments, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of inner stillness. Self-awareness also helps us cultivate mindfulness, a practice that is central to experiencing inner peace. Mindfulness encourages us to be fully present in the moment, observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without becoming attached to them. By observing ourselves in this way, we can create a gap between stimulus and reaction, which allows us to choose our responses rather than being driven by impulse. In moments of mindfulness, we are able to detach from the noise of the world, creating a sanctuary of peace within. This inner stillness is a direct result of the awareness we develop of our inner world. The more we practice self-awareness, the more we can identify the sources of external stress and how we allow them to affect us. Life can be chaotic with countless demands and distractions pulling us in different directions, but when we are self-aware, we can identify when we are being overwhelmed or triggered. This awareness helps us to take a step back, evaluate our situation, and respond with composure. Rather than being swept up in the current of external events, we can remain anchored in our inner peace. We learn to set boundaries and protect our energy, allowing ourselves to navigate the world with greater ease and grace. Another important aspect of self-awareness is the recognition of our values and how they shape our sense of peace. When we understand what truly matters to us, whether it's integrity, love, freedom, or growth, we can make choices that align with our values. This alignment creates a sense of harmony within, as we are no longer torn between external expectations and our inner truth. By living in accordance with our core values, we experience a deep sense of peace because our actions reflect our authentic self. There is no inner conflict, no tension between what we feel and what we do. Self-awareness also allows us to acknowledge and heal past wounds that may be hindering our peace. Often unresolved emotional pain from our past continues to affect us in ways we may not even realize. By becoming aware of these wounds, we can begin the process of healing. We no longer need to carry the weight of past regrets, resentments, or fears because we have the clarity and courage to face them. Through this healing process, we release the emotional baggage that disrupts our peace and make room for new, healthier ways of thinking and being. True inner peace is not the absence of challenges or difficulties in life, but the ability to navigate them with a calm and centered mind. Self-awareness helps us to remain grounded, regardless of external circumstances. When we know ourselves deeply, we are less likely to be thrown off course by life's ups and downs. We can approach every situation with a sense of equanimity, responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This gives us the strength to remain peaceful even in moments of uncertainty or turmoil. Self-awareness fosters a deeper connection with others. When we are at peace with ourselves, we are more likely to extend that peace to those around us. Our interactions become less about defense or proving ourselves and more about compassion, understanding, and genuine connection. The more we understand our own emotions and reactions, the better we can empathize with others. This creates a ripple effect where inner peace becomes not only an individual experience but a collective one as we contribute to the peace of those around us. Self-awareness and inner peace are not separate entities but rather two sides of the same coin. As we develop a greater understanding of ourselves, we naturally cultivate a deeper sense of peace within. This process involves accepting ourselves, letting go of negative patterns, living in alignment with our values, and addressing past wounds. With self-awareness, we can navigate life's challenges with calm and composure, creating a life of inner peace that radiates outward, enriching our own experience and the experiences of those around us. The freedom in letting go is a profound and transformative concept that can radically change the way we experience life. Letting go doesn't simply mean releasing objects or people from our lives. It's about releasing attachments to things, to outcomes, to past experiences, and even to our own preconceived ideas of who we should be. These attachments, often formed out of fear, control, or a need for security, can weigh us down, limit our potential, and prevent us from moving forward. When we finally allow ourselves to let go, we create space for growth, peace, and new opportunities to emerge. At the heart of the letting go is the realization that clinging to things, whether it's material possessions, unhealthy relationships, or old wounds, keeps us bound to the past. The more tightly we hold on to these attachments, the less room there is for something new to enter our lives. It's easy to become attached to the idea of control, to think that holding on tightly will give us stability, but in truth, the opposite is often the case. Clinging to something that no longer serves us, whether it's a job, a relationship, or a belief, keeps us stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction and frustration. Letting go, on the other hand, frees us from that cycle, allowing us to move forward and embrace the unknown. Letting go requires a deep sense of trust. It's trusting that even without control or certainty, life will unfold as it should. This can be a challenging process, particularly when we've invested so much of ourselves into something, whether it's a person, a career, or a dream. The fear of loss often keeps us holding on, but in reality, holding on is often the thing that causes the most pain. Letting go, while initially scary or uncomfortable, opens the door to freedom because it releases the grip that fear has over us. By relinquishing control, we make room for faith that the future holds something better, something aligned with our true path. The process of letting go also involves forgiveness. To truly let go, we must be willing to forgive not just others, but ourselves as well. Often we hold on to anger, resentment, or regret, believing that by doing so, we are protecting ourselves from further hurt. But in reality, these emotions only chain us to the past, preventing us from fully experiencing the present. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the power that these negative emotions hold over us. We give ourselves the freedom to heal, to move forward, and to embrace peace. Letting go is also deeply connected to self-acceptance. We may hold on to things because we feel they define us, our achievements, our relationships, or even our struggles. But these attachments are often based on external factors that do not define our true worth. Letting go allows us to embrace who we are without needing to validate ourselves through external accomplishments or labels. We start to recognize that our worth is inherent, and it is not contingent on the things we hold on to or the roles we play. In letting go, we give ourselves permission to simply be free from the pressures and expectations that we have placed on ourselves or that others have placed on us. The freedom that comes with letting go is also an emotional release. Our minds can become cluttered with worries about the future or regrets about the past. We become emotionally tied to outcomes we cannot control, obsessing over what might happen or what has already happened. This emotional weight can prevent us from experiencing peace in the present moment. When we let go of these emotional burdens, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of anxiety and regret. Letting go of the need for everything to be perfect, to go according to plan, or to fit into a certain vision allows us to experience life more fully and with greater ease. We stop trying to force things to be a certain way and instead allow them to unfold naturally. In relationships, letting go doesn't necessarily mean ending the relationship, but rather releasing the attachment to specific outcomes or expectations. Often we hold on to relationships with a desire for control or to shape them in a way that meets our own needs. When we let go of these expectations, we allow the relationship to evolve naturally without the pressure of trying to fit it into a mold. This doesn't mean we care less about the person or the relationship. It simply means we release the need to control or force things to be a certain way. In doing so, we create space for deeper, more authentic connections where both individuals can grow without the weight of unnecessary expectations. Letting go also allows us to embrace change with open arms. We live in a world that is constantly shifting and evolving, yet many of us resist change out of fear or the desire for stability. When we hold on to the past, we resist the natural flow of life and the opportunities that come with change. Letting go is an act of surrendering to the present moment and to the process of life itself. It's accepting that nothing in life is permanent, and that change, while sometimes uncomfortable, is a necessary part of growth. By letting go of our resistance to change, we open ourselves to new experiences, new possibilities, and new chapters in our lives. The freedom in letting go also extends to our personal goals and aspirations. It's easy to become fixated on achieving a specific goal, believing that once we reach it, we will be happy or fulfilled. But what if the real freedom comes not in achieving the goal itself, but in letting go of the need to achieve it in a specific way or within a specific time frame? Letting go of the rigid expectations we place on our goals allows us to pursue them with a sense of ease and joy, rather than stress or pressure. It shifts our focus from the destination to the journey, allowing us to enjoy each step along the way without being overly attached to the outcome. The freedom in letting go lies in the space it creates for us to live authentically and fully. When we let go of the things, beliefs, and emotions that hold us back, we step into a life that is more aligned with who we truly are. Letting go opens the door to new possibilities, personal growth, and peace. It's a liberating act that allows us to live without fear of loss, without the burden of expectations, and without the need to control every aspect of our lives. When we release what no longer serves us, we make room for the freedom to become our true selves, to embrace the present moment, and to experience the fullness of life with open hands and an open heart. Generosity is often seen as an outward act of giving, but when viewed through the lens of enough, it becomes a profound expression of abundance and fulfillment. In a world that often equates success and happiness with accumulation, whether it's wealth, status, or material possessions, generosity challenges that notion by showing that true richness is found not in what we gather for ourselves, but in what we share with others. Generosity, in its purest form, is the ultimate expression of enough because it stems from a place of contentment and a deep understanding that we are whole and abundant, even without constantly striving for more. When we understand and embrace the concept of enough, we realize that we don't need to hoard or withhold in order to feel secure or valued. This sense of sufficiency allows us to give freely without fear of lack or scarcity. True generosity doesn't come from a place of obligation or expectation. It arises from the inner knowledge that we already have enough to give. Whether it's our time, resources, or love, generosity flows effortlessly when we feel abundant and fulfilled. It's not about giving out of guilt or out of a desire to impress others, but rather from a place of inner peace and the recognition that there is more than enough to go around. The act of giving also reinforces our understanding of enough by reminding us that our value is not determined by how much we own, but by how much we are willing to share. Generosity shifts our focus from what we can accumulate to what we can contribute. In a world that often encourages competition and comparison, generosity allows us to step away from those pressures and connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. It teaches us that true fulfillment comes from the joy of seeing others benefit from what we have, whether it's a smile, a kind word, or a tangible gift. Generosity also fosters a sense of community and interconnection. When we give, we acknowledge that we are part of a greater whole and that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others. This recognition of interdependence is a powerful expression of enough because it highlights the idea that we do not exist in isolation. By giving, we contribute to the collective good, knowing that the more we share, the more we create a world that reflects abundance and care. In this sense, generosity is not just a personal act, it is a communal one that nurtures relationships and builds a sense of belonging and unity. Generosity encourages gratitude. When we give, we often become more aware of how much we already have. We realize that we are fortunate in ways that we may have overlooked before. This awareness of our own abundance leads to a greater sense of contentment as we begin to recognize the richness of our own lives. Giving in this context becomes an act of gratitude both for what we have and for the opportunity to share it with others. It creates a cycle of abundance where the more we give, the more we appreciate what we have, and the more we feel empowered to continue giving. Another powerful aspect of generosity is its ability to transcend the limitations of material wealth. While financial generosity is undoubtedly important, it's essential to recognize that generosity is not limited to money or possessions. Generosity can be shown through acts of kindness, the sharing of knowledge, or simply being present for someone in need. These non-material forms of generosity are often even more meaningful because they come from the heart. The ability to give our time, attention, and love without expectation of anything in return is perhaps the purest expression of enough. When we give in this way, we are not giving because we have more than we need, but because we understand that true wealth lies in the impact we have on others' lives. In many ways, generosity serves as a reflection of our values. It shows us what we truly care about and what we hold most dear. When we give, we often give to causes or people that resonate deeply with us. This act of giving not only demonstrates our own sense of sufficiency, but also helps us to align our actions with our values. By living generously, we affirm that what truly matters in life is not how much we accumulate, but how much we give. Generosity allows us to live authentically and in harmony with the things we believe are important, and it strengthens our connection to those values. Generosity also has the power to transform us. The more we give, the more we cultivate a sense of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. Giving is a form of self-expression, a way of sharing our unique gifts with the world. This act of sharing helps us to recognize our own worth and the impact we can have on others. It is through generosity that we find meaning and satisfaction in life, not by what we accumulate, but by what we contribute. Giving helps us to step outside of ourselves, move beyond our own desires, and focus on the needs of others, which ultimately leads to a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. The freedom that comes from living with the mindset of enough is ultimately reflected in our generosity. We no longer feel the need to compete or compare, to hoard or protect, because we recognize that our worth does not come from what we have, but from who we are and how we choose to show up in the world. Generosity becomes the natural expression of that understanding and expression of abundance, compassion, and love. It is the ultimate acknowledgement that we have more than enough to give, and that in giving we create more space for even greater blessings to flow into our lives. In essence, generosity is the ultimate expression of enough because it is the realization that fulfillment is not found in what we possess, but in what we give. It's a manifestation of abundance, not through accumulation, but through sharing. It reflects a deep inner peace and contentment, showing that when we are truly at peace with what we have, we are naturally moved to give to others. This kind of generosity rooted in the understanding that we are enough, just as we are, has the power to transform not only our own lives, but also the world around us. Living in the present is one of the most powerful and liberating practices we can embrace. So often we get caught up in the past, revisiting old memories, ruminating on regrets, or holding on to experiences that no longer serve us. At other times we focus on the future, worrying about what's to come, planning for what might happen, or striving for goals that seem just out of reach. While the past and the future have their place in shaping who we are and where we want to go, it is only in the present moment that we truly live. The present is the only time in which we have the power to act, to experience, and to feel. When we cultivate the ability to live fully in the present, we unlock a deep sense of peace, joy, and connection. When we are truly present, we let go of the mental noise that often distracts us. In today's fast-paced world, our minds are constantly pulled in different directions by our to-do lists, social media, news, and the pressures of modern life. These distractions create a sense of disconnection from ourselves and the world around us. The more we chase after these external stimuli, the more we lose touch with the richness of the present moment. However, when we choose to focus on what's happening right now, we are able to experience life at its fullness. Each moment becomes an opportunity to feel alive, to appreciate the small details, and to engage with the world in a more authentic way. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It simply means that we are not allowing them to dominate our thoughts or control our emotions. The past is a series of experiences that have shaped us, but it's no longer within our control. It's important to learn from the past, to acknowledge its lessons, and to honor it, but we should not dwell on what's already gone. Similarly, the future is unknown. And while planning for it is important, spending too much time worrying about what may or may not happen prevents us from enjoying the richness of the present. When we focus on the present, we acknowledge that it is the only time where we have influence and agency. It's in this moment that we can make decisions, take actions, and create new experiences that will shape our future. The power of living in the present is also reflected in our ability to truly experience our emotions. When we're distracted by worries about the past or future, we often miss the subtle signals that our emotions are trying to communicate. Our feelings exist in the present. They arise in response to what is happening right now. By staying present, we become more attuned to our emotional state, allowing us to process our feelings rather than suppress them. This leads to greater emotional intelligence and resilience as we learn to navigate our emotional landscape without being overwhelmed by it. Being present allows us to experience joy, gratitude, love, and even sadness, but without being controlled by them. We learn to observe our emotions without judgment and let them move through us. Living in the present also deepens our relationships with others. So often we are physically present with someone, but mentally we are elsewhere. We may be thinking about our work, planning for the next event, or distracted by our own internal dialogue. This disconnection can lead to misunderstandings, missed opportunities for connection, and a lack of genuine engagement with the people in our lives. When we are present with others, we listen more deeply, respond more thoughtfully, and engage more fully. Our attention is a gift that we give to those around us, and when we offer it wholeheartedly, we build stronger, more meaningful relationships. In those moments of true presence, we see others for who they are, not through the lens of our distractions or judgments. The benefits of living in the present extend to our physical well-being as well. When we are preoccupied with the past or future, we often carry unnecessary stress and tension in our bodies. Worrying about what has already happened or what might happen leads to chronic stress, which can manifest in physical discomfort, anxiety, and even illness. On the other hand, being present allows us to relax and let go of the tension that we hold on to. We become more attuned to our bodies, noticing when we're tired, hungry, or in need of care. In moments of presence, we can take deep breaths, stretch, and reconnect with the sensations of our bodies. This awareness of the present moment supports our overall well-being, helping us to stay grounded and balanced. Living in the present also enhances our ability to appreciate the beauty and wonder that surrounds us. In our busy, fast-paced lives, it's easy to overlook the simple joys, the sound of birds singing, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the beauty of a kind gesture from a stranger. These moments are fleeting, but when we are present, we can savor them. By focusing on the here and now, we allow ourselves to fully appreciate life's small blessings, which often go unnoticed when we are distracted by concerns from the past or future. In these moments, we reconnect with the inherent beauty of life itself, and in doing so, we experience a sense of gratitude that elevates our daily experience. When we live in the present, we become more adaptable and open to change. Life is constantly evolving, and our ability to respond to it depends on our willingness to embrace what is happening right now. If we are overly focused on what has already passed or what is yet to come, we limit our ability to respond with flexibility and creativity to the challenges we face. By staying present, we cultivate a mindset that is open to new opportunities, unexpected moments, and the natural flow of life. We learn to move with life rather than against it, and this adaptability leads to greater peace and fulfillment. Living in the present moment is an expression of mindfulness, a practice that teaches us to be fully aware of each moment without judgment. Mindfulness helps us to step out of the autopilot mode that often governs our actions and thoughts, allowing us to approach life with greater intention and presence. It teaches us to be conscious of our surroundings, our thoughts, and our feelings, and to cultivate a deeper connection to the life we are living right now. Through mindfulness, we learn to appreciate the richness of each moment, understanding that it is a unique and fleeting gift. Living in the present is a practice of being fully alive, engaged, and connected to what is happening around and within us. It allows us to embrace life with all its beauty, complexity, and impermanence. When we let go of the past and release our worries about the future, we open ourselves to the power of the now. It is in the present that we have the ability to create, to feel, to love, and to experience life at its fullest. And in those moments of presence, we find the peace and joy that we often seek elsewhere. Living in the present is not just a practice, but a way of being that connects us to the fullness of life. It is a reminder that the past is behind us, the future is uncertain, and the only time that truly belongs to us is now. By embracing the present moment, we open ourselves to the beauty, joy, and peace that surround us, and we allow ourselves to fully experience the richness of life in all its forms. It is in the present that we have the power to create meaningful connections, nurture our well-being, and cultivate a sense of purpose. Let go of the distractions, let go of the worries, and embrace this moment with gratitude and awareness. For in doing so, we unlock the true potential of who we are and what we can become. The present is a gift, live it fully. And you will find that it holds everything you need to live a life of fulfillment and peace.